Welcome to your community. This is your hometown. This is Walton Entertainment. This is where you can hear from the community and those making a difference. We explore topics, local festivals, arts and entertainment, and local news. For this program and much more, visit us online at yourlocalstream.com. That's yourlocalstream.com.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Walton County Chamber of Commerce, Walton County Political Candidate Forum. We are honored to be able to be here tonight and put this forum on for you. The Chamber is nonpartisan and we don't show favoritism to any candidates. We are a neutral party and this is for information purposes only so that our viewers on the live stream and you all here tonight can make educated vote when you go to the polls. So here's our format for tonight. We will start with our school board candidates for District 6 and 7. Our second group will be our County Commission Chair and Commission Districts 2 and 6. Our third group will be Walton County Coroner and Clerk of Court. And then our last group tonight will be Walton County Sheriff candidates. I want to tell you first a little bit about something else that will be on the ballot, which is the SPLOST renewal. What is SPLOST? SPLOST stands for Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. SPLOST is an optional 1% county sales tax which the state of Georgia allows counties to collect to fund specific improvement projects. Here in Walton County, we've had the SPLOST tax since the 1980s, so for many years it's funded several projects around the community, parks and recreation, our great parks, our great ball fields, all of those, transportation, public safety. Everybody wants 911 to answer when we call them, so it takes money to pay for all those things. So that's the SPLOST tax. And this morning at our Chamber of Commerce board meeting, we did vote to promote a yes vote for the SPLOST tax renewal. That is on the ballot for this time. Nobody wants for those of us that own property in Walton County, we do not want our property taxes to go up. So we encourage a yes vote to support SPLOST. So at this time, we do have a timer here. It should be very easy for our candidates to see their time. Each candidate will have a 3-minute opening remarks, and then you will have 1 minute to answer each of the questions that we ask, and then you will each have a 1-minute close. Okay? Everybody good? Okay. So we'll begin with our 3-minute introductions. Now, we did not hear from David Feltovic, who is running for School Board District 7 against incumbent David Breelove. We did not hear back from him, and I'm guessing he's not here, right? Anybody? Okay. So let's get started. Mr. John Jessup, you may begin your 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thanks for everyone for coming out, and hopefully we can get y'all entertained for the main event, which is to come up. And we know we're kind of down low on this fight card, so we'll try to make it as entertaining as we can. My name is John Jessup. I'm the incumbent for District 6 for your school board. I would appreciate your vote. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I grew up here in Walton County, graduated from Loganville High School in '85, went to Gainesville Junior College for a couple years, was in the ROTC program, realized I enjoyed that more than I did college at that point, so went in the Army for about 3 years, came out after the war in Iraq in '91, went back to Gainesville College to finish up with my bachelor's degree. I'd started off as a criminal justice major and then transferred to UGA, got my accounting degree, went to work for a public accounting firm in Gainesville, Georgia. I got my CPA certificate, went to work for a company later on in Norcross, and then we relocated back. My wife and I relocated back when we were expecting our second child to Loganville. So I've been back here in the community since 2002. Part owner in a building company, Alcovy Builders. I'm the CFO, the financial guy. So I've got a little bit of experience from that standpoint. My wife and I, we had 3 kids, all educated through Walton County school system. And why did I run for the school board is a fair question. And I want to tell you a little story, poke fun at my in-laws a little bit while I do. So back when our oldest daughter was in elementary school, and they were up for a birthday party, and they had told us, Anna and me and my wife and I, that, hey, if y'all want to put your kids in private school, we'll help you, pay for it. Know that, we stand behind, we want the kids to get the best education they can. And at that point, Anna and I said, well, look, we're very happy with where the kids are, the elementary schools they're in, which we were in the Loganville cluster. But we told them, listen, if that ever changed, we would certainly take them up. Well, a time later or something, they asked again, and we said, look, the kids are doing great. They're in middle school. These schools are fantastic. And we went to church with some teachers, and so we, had some connections. Well, then fast forward to May of 2017, our oldest daughter's graduating. They're up for the ceremony. Afterwards, they come to the house, and we, it's just a small get-together. And my father-in-law looked me in the eye and he said, John, y'all were right. He said, y'all didn't need to put them in private school. He said, Maria and I were very, very, very impressed with what we saw tonight. And so it was kind of good to be able to say, well, I told you so to my father-in-law. But so when this spot came open, I wanted to support the staff and everything. That's why I'm running and want to continue to get that job done.
Very good. Thank you. You were saved and didn't get the buzzer.
That's right on time.
Give her time to reset to 3. Okay, Mr. Harry Lee.
Thank you. My name's Harry Lee, and I'm running for the school board. And to tell you a little bit about myself, I have 41 years of public school experience, 23 right here in Walton County, where I worked under 5 superintendents. I was the chief financial officer. I've been an adjunct professor where I have taught kids, so I have classroom training. Former president of the Georgia Association of School Board Officials, former board member of Peach State Federal Credit Union, and currently I volunteer for a ministry called Streetwise, which provides food for the needy on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Work in the warehouse. I should be in better shape, but I'm not. But I'm also a fiscal conservative. And I don't think the board and the student is doing the taxpayers right, and let me tell you why. FY23 financial statement shows they have $66.8 million of undesignated funds, which simply means that's money with no designated, with no purpose, which is 46% of that year's budget. The state law says this should not be larger than 15%, which would be 21 million. So you got 21 million, school districts have 66.8. Now why is this law? It's because they don't want school districts to have surplus funds from taxation. Simple as that. I don't know why it's gotten so high. Now the school board members and the superintendent know about this law because they waived it a couple of years ago, but it doesn't negate the fact that it shouldn't be so high. Now, the school district thinks they did you a favor because they recently, in the last 2 years, cut the millage rate of 1.9 mils, which that equates to roughly $8 million, because a mill's roughly $4 million. Well, in the 23 budget, they put $8.2 million back into fund balance. This year, FY24, they're putting another $6 million back in fund balance. So while they give back to taxpayers a little bit, they're still growing fund balance without any intended designated purpose. And I think that's just gouging the taxpayers. There's going to be a problem in the years coming because I think there's going to be an economic downturn, and when assessed valuations drop, they're going to be at 20 mil limit quickly, and they're going to be asking the taxpayers for an increase in mill rate. And and y'all going to be stuck with the bill. So, thank you.
Mr. Lee, we'll let Carrie get that back on 3 minutes. And School Board District 7, Mr. David Brewer.
Good evening, everybody. I'm glad you could make it, and I will do my best not to get to the 3 minutes. Again, I'm David Breedlove, and I'm running for District 7 re-election. The time I've spent on the board, the last 16 years or so, has been incredibly educational. I've learned things I never thought were even possible. School board finance, I think everybody would agree, is incredibly complicated. To tell you a little bit about myself, my family, when I got married, we moved back here to Walton. My family's from Walton, obviously, but my wife and I moved here, and we had 2 children. They've gone all the way through from Walker Park through Carver and out through Monroe Area High School, and they're both staying here in the county. The reason I ran for school board, in 2006, I started attending school board meetings. There were some things going on that were a little unnerving, and I wanted to learn more, so I started going to the school board meetings. And I went month after month and learned quite a bit, met with the school board members individually, and when James Burrows, who was the person who held the seat before, when he decided to retire, I decided to run. And it's, for me, I understand there's a lot of money that changes hands, there's a lot of taxation, there's a lot. But for me, it's just plain and simple, it's about the kids. We've got to provide the best education that we can possibly do with what we have to work with while maintaining a fair taxation on the population. It's finding that balance. And if you look year over year for the last, since 2003, we're at our lowest millage rate since 2003. We've taken the graduation rate when I joined the board from 68% to 92%. So we're actually doing more with less. And a stunning percentage, and I'm going to shut up after this, the stunning percentage is of our budget, 90% of it goes to human resources, payroll, retirement and benefits, insurance, things like that. We run the district on 10%. And I don't know of another district out there that can make that claim. So I appreciate y'all being here tonight, and I look forward to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I yield the balance of my time.
You can go ahead and set it on 1, Carrie. So you have 1 minute to answer each of the questions. We actually have 4 questions for y'all, so we'll rotate the order after this first question. So question number 1, what are the 3 biggest issues facing the school district, and how would you address them if elected or re-elected? Mr. Jessup.
Thank you for that question. So number 1 is always going to be safety of our kids. Without a doubt, we have already spent money and continue to do so, staffing each school now with an SRO, which is a security officer, if you're not familiar with the term SRO. We also have built I'm not sure what we call them, but like 4 years basically that you have to come in and get buzzed in before you can get into the school system, along with a lot of training they go through. Number 2 is to continue to make sure that all of our students get the best education they can, not just for college prep, but to get them ready for the workforce, because not everybody needs to go to college, not everybody's meant to go to college, and quite honestly, we need folks working in non-college traditional jobs. And then third, the biggest one is making sure that our at-risk children, whether that's through poverty or just other areas, getting them to get up to speed to where they're not lagging behind when they get into middle school.
Okay, all right, Mr. Lee.
Well, I think we have a great school district, I really do. My 3 big areas, I think the charter school needs to have a little work. The price of it needs to be come down on it. But I think it's taxes. The taxpayers are being taxed to death. And these economic times, people are struggling, really struggling. And to have that kind of money in fund balance that with no intended purpose, when the state says, you should have 15%, I don't know what the school district's thinking. And then giving the taxpayers a break, but then in the same years, increasing fund balance does not make any sense whatsoever to me. So the areas I would concentrate would be the budget, taxes, and looking at the charter school.
Mr. Bailiff.
Thank you. I concur with Mr. Jessup on the academic challenges, and nobody wants to hear this, but COVID did a number. It really did a number on our, especially 3rd to 8th graders at this point. So we have a big challenge ahead of us trying to make up for that curve. The at-risk students would be the second one, of course, but I think our biggest challenge over the next year to 2 years is creating that sense of stability. If you look across our neighboring county, who had a whole lot of change in very short order, they're in chaos right now. And right now we have a lot of change going on in our district with the superintendent retiring and a new one coming in, CFOs retiring and other assistant superintendent retiring, all of those changes. So bringing that sense of stability so that the teachers can focus on the students and the students won't experience issues in the classroom. That's our primary focus in my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2. We'll start with you, Mr. Lee, on this one. What is the role of a school board member, and does it involve any of the day-to-day operations of the school district?
Well, they say the school board should be an oversight, should look at the big picture. I don't see how they can do that without looking at the smaller picture. Yes, you don't want them in your day-to-day operations. You don't want them really telling another employee of the school district what it should do. It all should go from the school board to the superintendent. That's who they should be in touch with. Not to say that they can't speak with them or find out information, but I thoroughly believe to be a good school board member, you need to dig down in there and find the inner workings of the school district. Because I've sat on the other side of the fence. I've sat in 23 years of board meetings, 23 years of cabinet meetings where we discuss what is going to be present to the board. So it's a fine line that you have to walk as a board member, because you don't want to get into everyday operations, but you need to know how the everyday operations work. And the only way to do that is by talking.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bailiff.
Thank you. The school board members, we're regulated heavily by the Georgia legislature, as well as the state school board. We really have 3 primary jobs. 1 is to write policy, 2 is to approve the budget, and 3 is to evaluate or hire, evaluate, and terminate a superintendent. From a legal standpoint, that's it. So we act in a judiciary capacity for student services and stuff like that, of course. But the reason our district has won 7 exemplary awards, 7 of them from the Georgia School Board Association over the last 7 years, is because we maintain that relationship with the superintendent only, everybody stays in their swim lane, I think is the best way to say it. That's why we succeed as well as we do. Thank you.
Mr. Jessup.
Yes, so the role of the school board, as Mr. Brelow touched on, there's three things. We approve the budget, we help set vision, policy, and then hire the superintendent. We just made one of those big decisions here recently when we brought Mr. Chip Underwood in as our next superintendent. The best thing a school board member can do is to support that superintendent as long as they're doing the right thing. Stay out of the day-to-day operations, provide, advice where there's a specialty. So for me, with finance background, I can help, with the budgeting, just sat in on our next budget meeting this week. But yeah, the reality is the better school board members, you hear less about them. And kind of the little joke is, if you want to die a political career, go be a school board member. So.
Thank you. Okay, question number 3. We'll start with you on this one, Mr. Brelow. We continue to have an influx of people moving here from other countries. How will the school board continue to address the impact of this on your local schools?
That's a great question. We talk frequently about we have to hire demographers. It's actually in our policies to hire demographers to keep us up to date on the shifting changes of the population. We work with the state superintendent, obviously, and the local superintendents doing all of this. This is all through the superintendent, of course, building the programs that are necessary to educate the kids. It's a balancing act because we have to continue to provide services and education for our existing base. But we literally have kids coming into our school who've never been in a school in their entire life, and they're 9th grade age. It's a challenge, and there is no cookie cutter answer. Every single case is different, and you have to treat every student differently.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jessup?
Yes, so I'm going to touch on Mr. Lee's comment about our fund balance a little bit in my closing statement, but this is one where you just have to spend money. We're mandated under federal guidelines to provide, English as a second language type classes and tutors and so forth. So the reality is the more of this we're getting, the more we're going to have to increase our budget. And that was really evident this week as I sat through our formal budget planning session. But, folks are coming in, and we just have to be prepared for it the best we can. Thank you.
Mr. Lee?
Well, when I worked for the school district, I was amazed at the information that we had to translate and put in print in different languages for all the different cultures and people coming into the school district. I was amazed by it. It is a challenge. You have just 4 buildings, classroom space. We're lucky that we have some of the finest schools that's been built. We really don't have any. The oldest school, I think, is Walnut Grove Elementary. Our schools, compared to other school districts, are well kept and well built. I'd hate to see it grow so fast that we have to start putting trailers at schools. I like the idea of a child being in a classroom building, but you're going to have to project that out just with funding. And this school district has no trouble getting qualified teachers, trust me, because in 2015, we were the 4th highest paid school district in the state. So, I'm not good on this minute thing.
Okay, so John, we'll come back to you to start this, Mr. Jessup. So, budget question. What is the role of the school board member as it relates to the school system's annual budget, and if elected, how will you address any budget concerns?
Okay. All right, so this is where I kind of can help shine a little bit. We basically sit down with the department heads and hear through what they're asking for their budget. As Mr. Brelow had pointed out, 90% of our budget goes, there's nothing we can do. It's going to our most valuable asset, which is our employees. And so we work the rest of the whole, largest employer in the state are in the county. The rest of it's the 10% mark. So we watch, we run lean, I've got numbers that prove we run the leanest in our area as far as a price per student. We're proud of that. We give one of the best educations for that price. Matter of fact, the state ranks us in the 95th percentile of spending money at the results we produce. So we're real proud of that. And in my closing, I'll catch up on the fund balance.
Mr. Lee?
Well,
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, now go.
a board member is tough because to look at governmental financial statements, to look at the budget, be able to understand financial statements, be able to understand how it relates to the budget is difficult for most lay people. And I think you really need some board members that are educated on that, because I don't see the fund balancing have to be so large. I really don't. The board just recently, over the last few years, gave a 10% salary increase across the board to full-time members. That's 10%. Also, they raised the salary steps 3. Now, the taxpayer's going to be stuck with that bill. There's no going at it. Like they said, our budget, 90% of it is salaries and fringe benefits, and that's not going anywhere. So a board's going to have to take this, and they're going to have to start.
Mr. Breedlove.
Yeah, so the per pupil expenditure, we sit at $11,000 per student. We are the lowest in the region, and some of these are as high as $15,000 and $17,000 per student. We run a highly efficient business service for the taxpayers. I understand the concerns about fund balance. As a board member, it's my responsibility to sit in on when I'm on the subcommittee, to sit in on those meetings that Mr. Jessup alluded to and help review those different ones. We're coming up on probably another zero balance budgeting again, where we just start from scratch. We are lean when it comes to the budget, as lean as we can be. I don't know what else we can top. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now have closing remarks, and we'll do this in reverse order of opening remarks. So, Mr. Breedlove, you'll go first.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wait. 1 minute, sorry. 1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay. So again, I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I am looking forward to this election. The reasons that you vote for a school board member, I've been talking to a lot of people over the past couple of months about this. And when you start talking about issues and getting down on the, how are you going to vote on this? How are you going to vote on this? That gets concerning with the school board, because that's what gets you on Channel 2 Action News at 6. That's not what you want from a school board member. You need to get to know your school board members. You want somebody of good character and high morals, because those are the people that are going to be making the decisions about this generation and the next one and the next one. And so get to know your school board members. I'm that guy. I've proven it. 16 years on the board. I'm your guy. I appreciate you being here tonight, and I like your vote. Thank you.
Mr. Lake.
Well, I think the school district needs, the taxpayer needs. Instead of being like this, they need the board to be more on a horizontal plane, which they are now. When I was at the district and board members, it was always 7-0 votes. Nobody asked the pertinent questions they needed to ask. I think you need somebody to be able to understand some financial statements. I think you need somebody that has some experience and just not a lay person. So if you're happy with the school district as it is, then vote for Mr. Jessup. If you want somebody to go in and rock the boat a little bit and ask some pertinent questions that affect you as a taxpayer, I think I'm your man. I have the experience and the knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Justin. Well, wait. Okay. You may go.
Okay. So to touch on my opponent's question, concern about the fund balance, let me say this. Every financial planner will tell a family they need 2, 3, 4 months worth of savings. Every business owner will tell you they need 3 or 4 months worth of savings in their bank account. Any nonprofit will tell you, hey, we need 3 or 4 months savings. The school district, we have 3 or 4 months of savings in this fund balance that Mr. Harry keeps harping on. When we got here originally, we had 1 month. You know what happened in 2008, 9, 10? Because of that, we had to furlough teachers and cut the number of days kids could go to school because we weren't funded enough. You know what happened in COVID? We got from the state saying we're going to have to cut your budget revenue that the state sends by 20%. We were going to have to cut and furlough teachers and reduce the number of days if we had not had enough money in fund balance. That's why we have that 2 or 3 months worth of balance.
Let's give them all a round of applause, y'all. Thank you. Okay, we will have a quick changeover. We will invite the Walton County Commission Chair and District Commissioners up at this time. We'll take over our take part. Will be our County Commission Chair candidates, Mr. David Thompson, incumbent, and Blake Davis. We have Walton County Commission District 2, Stoney Brandon, Pete Myers, and John Wimmels. Did I say that right? Okay. And then District 3, Kirkland Dixon, incumbent, and Joe Phelps. So we are going to get ready to get started. We will start with our Commission Chair candidates, which are right front and center. And are you ready, Carrie? Okay, so Mr. David Thompson, you may begin with your 3-minute introduction.
Well, welcome everyone. I'm David Thompson, born and raised here in Walton County, lived here my whole life. I am 68 years old, graduated high school, Monroe Area Comprehensive High School in 1973 and went to Middle Georgia College and then on to the University of Georgia. I ended up starting life out as a farmer. I farmed for 9 years for a living with my father after the University of Georgia, and we grew soybeans and wheat. Over 1,200 acres, the two of us worked while we were doing that. Right after the university, I married my wife, Suzanne, which is here tonight, and we've been married since 1977 to present day. I have 2 children, both boys, William and Clay Thompson, and I have 2 grandchildren, 12 and 14, Sloan and Grady, and they all live here in Walton County. Farming didn't work out real well, so in 1983, I had an uncle that was in the building and construction business that taught me the ropes to build houses and duplexes. So I folded up the farming career and started building and developing property through the year 2000. And during that time, in the late 80s, a group of us got together and started a bank here in Monroe, Walton Bank and Trust, and sold that in 2000 also. From 2000 to 2017, I started back farming with my sons, Thompson Family Farms Produce. We had the produce stand at Campton. Those of you who've been here more than 10 years will remember that. It was very popular. We worked 162 acres of produce, and we shipped produce all over the state and the country and sold it locally. We started another bank in 2006. It was Liberty First Bank. I was one of the directors. I ended up vice chairman and chairman of the loan committee. I have an extensive financial background, an extensive background in people management, and I feel like we've done a great job with the county, and I see the time running down, but that's my history, and that's me. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Davis.
Thank you, the Chamber, for this opportunity here tonight, and thank you, everybody, for being here. For those that don't know me, I'm Blake Davis. I'm a sixth generation resident here in Walton County. My family is from around the Bold Springs area, dating back all the way around to the early 1800s in Walton County. And I appreciate the ability to ask you all to serve as the chairman here for Walton County in this next election cycle. First and foremost, I'm a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, and I live my life day to day with that in mind, and the actions dealing with people in business and how I live my life day in and day out. I'm a second generation Walton County businessman. Our local business, my father Andrew Davis, Andrew's Pest Control, that's the business that I've grown up in since I was a young kid, working in and around Walton County and beyond. We service over 1,800 residents in Walton County on a regular basis. So we know the customers, we're in touch with the people as our customers here in Walton County. So we know the ins, we know the outs, we hear the concerns, and I've heard them for the last 15 years working for the people of Walton County. My wife Lauren and I, we've been married 12 years. This year we've got 3 children, Tate and Bodie and Clara. We're blessed to call Walton County our home. Serving in the local arena has been something that's been on my heart for around a decade or so. I told my wife early in our marriage, I said one day I'd like to serve in some form or fashion inside of our county and the goings-on of our county and helping to move forward to a better future. And over the past years, helping to lead some community involvement with fighting some commercial rezones with big franchise companies here in Walton County. With the help of a lot of other people and working together, we helped to win that rezone with the help of the Commissioners Board on our side there. So today I'm here on the platform of Good for Walton. And that's what I'm thinking about. What's good for Walton and what's good for the future of Walton? Is it good for the people? Is it good for the environment? And is it good for the way of life that we hold true and we hold dear? And as we plan for housing, as we plan for development, as we plan for infrastructure, and we plan for our public safety and the responsibilities that the county holds to take care of those things. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to County Commission District 2 candidates, and we will start with Stoney Brandon.
Are you going to give me a warning when you start the clock?
She'll start it when you start talking.
I just talk. You know what that didn't count.
When you start your introduction, she'll start.
My name's Stoney Brandon. I live out off of Green Avenue, which is in the Center Hill Church community. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. It's a good thing. And also thanks for the COC or the Chamber of Commerce organizing this. I know it was not an easy task, but talking to Deborah today about it. She didn't necessarily complain, but she voiced some concern about bringing it together. But anyway, I came to Split Silk in 1995 from Gwinnett County. In Gwinnett County, I served on several different political appointed positions, but not voted in positions. With the South Gwinnett Homeowners Alliance being the main one, we had 500 communities that I was president for 1994 to 1995 that I mingled with and assisted with presentations for the planning and for the Board of Commissioners in Gwinnett County. I know how to speak, I know how to deal, I know how to compromise, I know how to capitulate. Unfortunately, sometimes we have to do that when we really don't want to. And also, I know how to win. And I look forward to being your commissioner for District 2. And it's on the outlands, basically south of 78, east of, we'll say 81, and west of Highway 20. I have 2 children. I had a wife, lost her in January 2019, excuse me. My experience, as I told you a little bit, with the South Gwinnett Homeowners Alliance, but also I worked with Bo Warren. I asked David Thompson to help me one time. Keith did. So I know a few people. Clint Ayers, he was a good guy. He helped us out in District 1. My education is pretty diverse. I volunteered for the Marine Corps in the summer. I got out of South Gwinnett High School. When I was discharged 6 years later, I attended DeKalb Community College, and that seems to be very by myself when it went. Anyway, a 2-year college there. Also, I graduated from Georgia Military Institute in the town of Milledgeville, and I went on for Burnell, Gainesville, and got my 4-year degree in Mustang into from the National Guard. Worked with Joe Chapman a little bit, we're not buddies or anything, and I became a lieutenant colonel and retired as a lieutenant colonel from the United States Army in 2004, and resigned from the Georgia National Guard as a colonel in 2010. And I learned a lot about politics in those positions. It was difficult, but I did well. I've interviewed 32 people, 30 of them did not know what district they lived in, 28 of them did not know who their commissioner was. I want to see that communications improved. Thank you. Stoney Brandon.
Thank you. Mr. Pete Myers.
Good evening. I'm Pete Myers. I appreciate y'all coming out. I see a lot of familiar faces out there. And just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Walton County. I was born and raised right there, actually in District 2, right there off Center Hill Church Road. Joke is my dad, he built a house and then he'd sell it and build right next door and he'd sell that one. So we've been there a long time. So I married my wife, went to Loganville High School, proud of that. I met my wife there at Loganville High School. We've been married now for 20 years. We're raising 3 children right there in the community. My wife serves on the PTO. They're Sharon Elementary. We're very, very involved with the community. My 3 children, my oldest is Marshall. He's 15. Middle son's McCoy, he's 11, and my daughter Maggie, she's 8. And they're very dear to me and my wife, and we have we want to keep them around. We want to do 7 generations here in Walton County. That's why I'm running. I want to keep our community strong. I want to be a public service to the county. I want to, again, get out there and, if you drove down Center Hill Church Road, I think you know who Pete Myers is for sure. So we're trying to introduce ourselves to everybody we can and hear the concerns. Own and run a business right there in District 2 also. I've worked with my brother for almost 20 years. We've built it kind of from ground up and got employees, and a lot of them live in the district also. I have a state water distribution license. I'm an underground utility contractor, licensed with the state. A lot of knowledge in that. I just honestly just have a lot of family and friends, and I want to be a service to them, and that's why I'm running. And I appreciate you coming out, and I appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Mr. John Wimmels.
Good evening. I'd like to thank our moderator, as well as the Chamber for hosting this forum tonight, and all of you for being here. My name is John Weebles. I'm a retired from the United States Air Force, and I have over 21 years on active duty. While on active duty and post my retirement career as an imagery and geospatial intelligence analyst, I had the opportunity to gain a large amount of experience in large program management. I attended the Georgia Gwinnett College and the University of Georgia. I graduated summa cum laude with a degree in political science, and economics was one of my core areas of study. I've lived in Walton County for over 10 years now. Commissioner, because I believe in small government and low taxes. That government should follow the will of the people, and government should be transparent. As popular as all these things may sound to all of us, none of them seem to be being followed by the current commission. Walton County sales taxes are the highest of all the surrounding counties. In response to this fact, our current commission has asked for additional sales taxes. The Walton County budget report for 2024 shows record revenues of $219.45 million. This is the 3rd year straight of record revenues for the county. The new speed loss that is being proposed is $20 million for 6 years in new taxes. This sales tax policy hurts local Walton businesses who have to compete, especially in District 2, with businesses less than a mile away down Highway 78 that charge a full percentage less in sales taxes. These sales taxes also slow the growth of businesses in Walton County and hurts our citizens. This $20 million per year comes straight from the pockets of people who are struggling with record inflation. This $20 million a year could be used to generate economic opportunity within the county, and I suggest that we vote down this new tax and allow the citizens of Walton to unleash that $20 million every year in economic growth. The Walton County Comprehensive Plan in 2022 gauged the response of citizens to county policies. 88% of the respondents viewed the zoning and land use policies of the county negatively. Even with that vote of no confidence, the county continued with their current policies. In January of this year, an ordinance was put to the commission by the planning committee to change Walton zoning laws to drop minimum lot size to as little as 1 acre and mandate homeowners associations. This ordinance met with a huge public outcry, and that ordinance was put forth by one of my opponents who sat on the planning commission at that time. This action was the latest of an ongoing policy to generate unsustainable housing growth within Walton. In the last 2 years, Walton County year-over-year home values have increased that have dropped from 5.5 to 0.2%. According to the Federal Reserve Economic Database, there are currently close to 1,000 homes for sale in Walton County. My opponents on this race and the planning committee for several years.
Mr. Wendell, your time is up. Thank you. Now we'll move to County Commission District 6, Mr. Kirkland Dixon.
I own exactly one navy blue suit when I rented a car and drove to Monroe, Georgia in the fall of 1990 for the interview with Walter Monroe Mills. Thank God I had a different color tie, and I got a second interview to come back down to interviews twice. And so my love affair began with Walton County. Some 30 plus years later, that love affair is stronger than ever. First, I want to thank God for creating me, Jesus Christ for saving me, and the Holy Spirit for comforting me. Thanks to the Walton County Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this event tonight, the citizens of Walton County for attending and watching, and my voters in advance for re-electing me to another term on May 21st, 2024. I also want to thank my opponent, Mr. Joe Phelps, for throwing his name in the hat. It's never an easy task to put yourself out there to public scrutiny and speculation. Who am I? My name is Kirkland Dixon, born and raised in Jeffersonville, Georgia, population 950. I was educated as an undergrad at Georgia Tech in Atlanta, and I received an MBA from Troy State University in Alabama. I moved to Monroe in 1991. I graduated from Georgia Tech, and almost immediately I got to work in my community, serving on various boards, including the American Red Cross, the Boys and Girls Club, and in my current church, earlier, my deacon, and teaching Sunday school. I served on the Walton County Board of Education for many years before taking my current seat on the Walton County Board of Commissioners. I graduated from Leadership Walton in 2017, and I currently serve on the Board of Directors for the Walton County Chamber of Commerce, as well as the YMCA Executive Board. I married the former Denise Harris in 2004, the best decision I ever made. Unfortunately, my one opportunity to be a father was snatched away by a drunk driver in a head-on car collision in 2007. What do? I own and operate Winter Genie of East Atlanta, a home service and small business in Monroe. I attend Grace Memorial Church, where I serve on the elder board, and I work with kids on Wednesday nights. In my spare time, you'll find me glued to the TV, watching my favorite NASCAR driver, number 9, the Chevy Chase Elliott, driving the Chevy Camaro around Talladega, Bristol, Atlanta, and Daytona. Why vote for me? Walton County is one of the best, if not the best, counties in the area as far as fiscal management. We have a healthy fund balance. We have excellent leadership in all our departments, great employees, and we have a trim budget that offers the best of services, keeping expenses in line. Walton County is a spot that people want to come to. People want to move here, build here, play here, work here, and raise families here. That's not by accident. It's because of decisions this board has made over the last few years. I've been part of the board since 2008. How do I treat the office? I've always listened to my constituents in my district, tried to be the best I can to represent them, and work hard to broker compromise. I believe in servant leadership and live by the words of Dr. Martin Luther King. If you want to be important, wonderful. Want to be recognized, wonderful. Want to be great, wonderful. But to recognize the best servant is one who serves others. That is the new definition of greatness. I am Kirkland Dixon, and I ask for your vote on May 21st, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jacobs.
I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Joe Phelps, and I've been a citizen and resident of Walton County all my life. I'm married to Elaine Phelps, and we have 5 children. We've got 10 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. I have been in the Air Force right out of high school. I graduated high school in in 1970, 71 in Social Circle, Georgia. From high school, I went into the Air Force for 6 years, 4 years active, 2 years inactive. Following the Air Force service, I went back to school and went to Athens Technical College for a heating and air conditioning business. I ran my heating and air conditioning business for about 18 to 20 years until my son had time to graduate from college. And when he graduated from college, I let him take the business over, which he has been running ever since. I think he's done a better job at it than I did, to tell you the truth. After that, I started building houses, and I built numerous of custom homes, and I've had a lot of dealings with different types of people. All my life, being in the two businesses that I had been in. I just want to serve the county. I think that I would do a good job by the background and experience that I have with dealing with people. And I would certainly ask for your vote on May the 21st. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go into our questions now, and we will go in the same order for the first question, then we'll rotate who answers each question first. 1 minute to answer each question. So we will start with David Thompson. And question number 1, with the rapid growth Walton County has experienced, if elected or re-elected, how would you propose to address infrastructure needs, water, traffic, facilities, services to keep up with the growth?
Well, to begin with, there's perception of growth and there's actual numbers of growth. Walton County happens to be the lowest growth area in this area. We have Walton County over the last 3 years, according to the census data, 3.3% increase in growth, 3,257 residents. Little Jasper County below us is over 8.8% growth. Bear County, 6.7% growth. Jackson County, 9.4% growth. Walton County, 3.3%. So you see the growth, the whole Northeast Georgia area is growing, but perception and facts are two different things. As far as water infrastructure, we're in the process of building our own water plant. Shut up.
Thank you. Okay, set it back to 1 and we will, okay. Mr. Davis.
With the rapid growth that we're seeing, yet again, just your definition on growth and what is rapid and what is not. So, for a lot of people, we do see rapid growth here in Walton County, and at a rate that we see that it's unhealthy if we continue at a rate that we are. So, as far as keeping up with the infrastructure needs, water, traffic, and facilities, we've got to really do some studies. Maybe create some committees together that between the intergovernmental work together to plan for these different problem areas that we have as far as intersections, as far as we have danger areas along highway corridors. So working hand to hand with the cities, with the state level, and pressuring them and holding people's feet to the fire of really creating a real plan and sticking to it.
Thank you. I should have said we had actually about 25 questions submitted for the county commissioners. So our governmental affairs chair, who is Melissa Chapman, a local attorney here, and I had to go through these questions and try to drill them down so that we weren't asking the same questions of all of them, and they were not candidate specific either. So I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, Mr. Stoney Brandon.
Same question.
Same question.
Same question. I feel the same while I was on financial staff with Bell for 4 years. Dealt with hundreds of millions of dollars of money. Came here in 1770. The very first thing in order for him is Walton County, and most importantly, the citizens and the people that reside in Walton County. Those are the people that I will serve, and those are the people I'm interested in, and understanding where we're at on water traffic and facility services. I know this is a necessity, but it needs to be planned and task organized up front, not after the fact, as I've seen in Walton, in Gwinnett County, not Cascone, but I've seen it go down because of lack of communication, lack of power planning, and the management and the control of growth in an efficient and professional citizenry method. Thank you.
Mr. Myers.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, and I think growth is like we're surrounded, with other counties that everybody wants to kind of come to Walton now, which is a good thing. We've got a great county. And just the same thing, getting elected on the board and just trying to make the right decisions on how to deal with this as we go and get a plan together. And on my background with the water distribution and we've got the reservoir, and I think there's plans to actually build the water treatment plant, which I think we need in the future if we're going to keep going. Every county around us has their own water treatment plant, so that was something that would happen. And be there in District 2, dealing with the state DOT, we've got that running right through Loganville there. So I think there's plans to widen 20, and that'll help in the future. It just needs to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wayman.
When it comes to the rapid growth, one of the things we need to understand is one of the key issues is traffic. And most of us here at the county level are not going to have a lot of control over what GDOT or anybody else does to improve the main arterial flows through Walton County. So what that means for us on the board is that rapid growth should be managed. We should be able to understand and plan for how many people are going to be moving into the county, how much the county growth is going to be, and then therefore be able to predict how many housing units to build in a given time frame. That also does other things like protect homeowners' values and miscellaneous other things. The infrastructure inside of the county is another thing that you can't, as Stoney stated, you can't plan for that after the fact. That all needs to be done up front. So the commission needs to take a much more proactive stance on all of that, not just simply approving zoning, period.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I felt accomplished after I got my diploma. Made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.